So one thing that really took the wind out of my sails personally, in that I also spent an ungodly amount of time on Twitter from 2020 to probably the start of 2024, roughly. And I've since become very, very interested in Noster and spend most of my time socially online on Noster. And one of the things, I guess, like, first of all, the experience that was using a scheduler. My old Twitter profile, I think I got to like about 8,000, 9,000 followers, and I was pumping out at times like between 15 and 20 kind of scheduled tweets. It's quite amazing what one man with a keyboard can do, to be honest. And I would hit like 1 million impressions, and you've got like 700 comments, and you're like, I've got to reply to every single one. And I just completely frazzled by the whole thing. And I kind of fell off that bandwagon in terms of the experience, as to that just wasn't quite right for me personally. It was then also bolstered by this whole idea of digital censorship and platform risk. And you're like, well, hang on a second. If you spend all this time building this audience, but it can get rug pulled because you said the wrong thing at the wrong time, isn't this just a massive waste of time? So how do you feel about platform risk? Specifically, obviously, your Twitter profile is now got immense reach. I saw some stats you posted recently that, I mean, it's fantastic the amount of attention you can sell to someone, in a sense, because of all the work that you've done. And it's built on hard work, right? You've shared interesting stuff. People like following what you're saying. That's not, you can't just magic that out of nowhere. But like, what happens if Muskie is like, don't like you today, and just switches you off?
Yeah, I'm bullish on email for this, because it's very difficult to get rug pulled on email. And there's more people who have email accounts than any single social media platform has users. Mm-hmm. So you can automatically, you have more control over who sees your emails in a way. The algo change, everyone's complaining about the algo on all the time. The algo is throttling me. The algo, I'm black, what was it? I'm shadow banned, like all these things, right? Yeah. So and Twitter is very trending driven, right? So writing about trends, especially in Bitcoin, does very well. Other stuff doesn't do as well. Long form potentially doesn't do as well as short form. So I like email for that. I used Nostr. I get the whole concept of protecting yourself against platform risk, about digital censorship. I think about it two ways. I have the skills. If I got rug pulled tomorrow and my account got banned, I would get back on Twitter, and I would just keep doing the same thing I already do, because I have the skills to build up the account. And not only do I know that because I've done it for myself, I've now done it multiple times for clients as well, for my ghostwriting clients, right? And I've watched my own clients do it for their own accounts. And so it's a set of skills, and nobody can take those skills away from you, even if they ban you off Twitter. It's annoying. It's really going to take time to build up again, right? But you can do it. And then second, that's why I drive now people to an email list. So email is my favorite secondary platform. And I also feel like, sure, when people follow you, they're giving you like implicit permission to invade their feed with your content. But I feel like email is an even more implicit, like, yes, I really want to hear from you. I'm letting you into my inbox. You can get a bit deeper in there. I prefer to sell on email, although I'm trying to figure out ways to also do it on Twitter without like it being, kind of like too salesy and too obnoxious, and like, nobody wants to be sold to. So I'm trying to figure out ways of doing it on Twitter without, in a way that's like natural and works and gets the message across and gets me clients. Email is my big one. Plus, like, imagine you have, if you get an email list with 10,000 people in it, and you get to 40, 50% open rate, right? That's 5,000 people that clicked on this email and read it, or at least like clicked on it. Whereas on Twitter, it's much more difficult to know, how many impressions you're going to get on a tweet.
Yeah. And the analytics are sometimes a bit broken, and you're not quite sure what it's actually saying, and you're like, this is
How many people
that actually
are bots?
resonates a lot. I did some ConvertKit work for a while, and I just really enjoyed the simplicity of it. You could just say how you felt, boom, it goes into someone's inbox. And I think my click rates were like 43%, 45%. And it was a small email list, like maybe 400 emails that I collected over time. But it still was like people are actually opening them. That's a great point. I agree. And so if one was to think about, there's 1.5 billion active users on Instagram every day. It's like, well, there's a lot more email addresses than that with people that check them every day. 10 minutes ago, the vet that I took my dog to was pumping me with an email. I'm like, absolutely no way am I getting another one of those. But equally, yours, I haven't yet archived because I'm like, I want to go through what Daniel's sending me. Yeah, so with Noster then, are you actually using it, or it's just something that you might take a look at in the future? And why would you, if you're interested in Bitcoin and censorship when it comes to money, censorship of speech online, presumably something you care about too, but you've got a lot of other stuff going on elsewhere, perhaps it's just not worth your attention. I'm just intrigued as to why people are or are not deciding to shift over to Noster.
You have to weigh the probability that the risk you're hedging against happens and how much, what's the trade-off of going to Noster costing you an upside versus how much is it helping you hedge the downside, right? Yes. If my goal is to build a business that makes me a certain amount of money and I help a certain number of people, then it helps to have a larger top of funnel. I don't know what Noster's, to be honest, I don't know what Noster's usage statistics are like and whatever. I know that for me, part of my business philosophy is I want to keep my business very lean. And so that means not doing a lot of stuff. And that includes I know that I can't be on every social media platform, killing it on all of them.
Yes.
For me, if it's if I can do Twitter, which I'm good at Twitter, I like Twitter. It just comes naturally. I do that. I copy and paste to some other platforms sometimes. And then if I can use that to drive people who are interested in what I have to say to my email list, and I can sell to them there and keep growing the email list, that's enough for what I need. I don't need to be on all of them. If there was an easy way to cross post to Noster, like a scheduler that lets me put my tweets onto Noster, and it's one button, I might do it. I'm not overly concerned about getting banned on Twitter, and the concerns that I do, the small risk that I assign to that chance of getting banned off Twitter and losing my audience, I mitigate by growing the email list rather than trying to grow on Noster or some other social media platform.
And also the fact that you back yourself. It's I could build it again if I had to.
It would suck, but I can do it.
Because that is sovereignty in some ways, right? It's oh, well, I can just do it again if I had to. Okay, and I'm intrigued then about offers. And
1 second, I just want to do. So there's a quote. I think it's either Lincoln or Benjamin. It's either Abraham Lincoln or Benjamin Franklin. If a man empties his purse into his head, then no one can take it from him.
Yeah, great.
Right. So this is also why I'm so bullish on consulting and coaching, because it's all knowledge and skill acquisition, and those are things that cannot be taken from you. No matter what, they can take your money, they can take your Bitcoin, they can take your house, they can take whatever, but they can't take your skills and your knowledge. And if you ask, you see these, there's this young guy, School of Hard Knocks on TikTok and Instagram. He goes around asking people how they made their money. How did you make $1 million or $1 billion? And one of the questions he asks is if you lost it all today, could you make it back? And they're like, yeah, I have the skills.